every week, tune in for the review. Mr. and Mrs. Chat serving hot like they do. Stand clear of the sidelines, we on the attack. Big Blue Tees, the podcast, ain't no looking back.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Big Blue Tee. And today, we are zeroing in on a player whose future, well, he's got a massive spotlight on it right now. Daniel Bellinger.
Definitely a situation worth unpacking.
Totally. As Giants fans, we've seen him develop, seen the grit, but now he's facing a really pivotal moment heading into this season. There's just so much chatter.
Right. A lot of speculation, Is he on the bubble? What do the analytics really show?
Exactly. And what does his future actually look like here in New York? That's the big question. So our goal today, we're going to cut through all that noise. We'll show you why Bellinger's situation is kind of this perfect storm.
Yeah.
You got performance, money, team strategy, all colliding.
It really is a snapshot of how tough the NFL business can be.
Brutal, son. Okay, let's unpack this. For us as Giants fans, this is a conversation we absolutely need to have. All right, so to really get where Daniel Bellinger is today, we kind of got to look back first, right? His journey with the Giants. I remember the excitement when he first joined. He felt like one of our guys, that hard-nosed player. Can you kind of give us the factual rundown? His career, his main role up till now.
Absolutely. So Daniel Bellinger, born back in September 2000. He's played tight end mostly, but also significantly fullback for the Giants. Looking at his career stats through the end of the 2024 season, we're talking 69 catches, 648 yards, 2 touchdowns receiving, plus, a little bit on the ground, 2 rushing yards and 1 rushing TD.
Right.
But what really defines him, his identity on the team, has been that blocking tight end role. And in 2024, he leaned into that fully, became the full-time fullback.
Right, the blocking, that's what you always heard.
Yeah.
Not afraid to mix it up.
Exactly. It shows his value in the run game, willingness to do the less flashy stuff.
So that's his foundation, that blocking first identity. But you mentioned those stats go through 2024. That brings us to the tricky part. We've heard the buzz. 2024 maybe wasn't his best year statistically. What did the sources actually say about last season's performance?
Yeah, the sources definitely confirm that. 2024 was, statistically speaking, his least productive season. Just 14 catches for only 125 yards and significantly 0 touchdowns.
Wow, 0 TDs. That's a big drop.
It is. And it lined up with a big drop in his offensive playtime, too. He was only on the field for 365 offensive snaps all season.
365, what percentage is that, roughly?
That works out to about 32% of the team's total offensive snaps, a pretty noticeable decrease from prior years.
Okay, so fewer opportunities on offense.
Right. But it is important to note he was still very active on special teams, remained a key contributor there.
Okay, that's something.
And looking at this past spring, 2025, he did miss some OTA time. Undisclosed injury, but the word is he should be fine for training camp.
Good. You want guys healthy for camp.
And despite the dip in stats, his commitment seems, unwavering. He went back to tight end university in Nashville, 4th year in a row, went with Theo Johnson, Chris Manhertz, and the rookie, Thomas Fedone II.
Okay, so he's still putting in the work, going to TU. That's good to see.
It is. And what's fascinating here is you have this real contrast, right? This clear dedication in the offseason, trying to improve, versus the statistical reality on the field last year.
Yeah, that dedication is what you love as a fan, and there's always a but in the NFL, isn't there?
Usually, yes.
It's a business. And this is where it gets really interesting for Daniel, and honestly, kind of stressful for us fans looking at the roster. It's not just about the past or even grinding in the offseason anymore. It's the cold, hard numbers, the contract. Especially being in his contract year.
That's the crux of it.
Can you break down that contract situation? What does it mean for his spot on the team?
Okay, so he's entering the final year of that rookie deal. His contract is set up with a base salary of $3.4 million for this year. That translates to a cap hit for the Giants of about $3.6 million.
Okay, $3.6 million cap hit.
But here's the number that really matters. The number that makes him, frankly, vulnerable from a financial perspective.
Yeah.
His dead cap hit. It's minimal, only $198,000.
Whoa, only $198K.
Exactly. That's all the Giants would be on the hook for if they decided to release him, meaning they save almost $3.2 million against the cap with virtually no financial penalty.
Oof, that's That's not a lot of protection.
It's not. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that tiny dead cat figure, it basically signals that, from a pure money standpoint, he's an easy cut if they need the space or feel they have better options.
Right. It puts all the pressure squarely on him to prove he's worth that $3.4 million salary.
Precisely. It removes the financial incentive to keep him if the on-field value isn't clearly there.
Okay, so the money situation makes him, let's say, expendable if he doesn't perform. But who's he even up against? That tight end room feels different this year. Feels crowded.
It absolutely is crowded. And you're right, that competition is a huge piece of this puzzle. It's incredibly stiff right now. Sources are pointing to Theo Johnson really pushing forward, lots of buzz around him, potentially as the TE1.
Yeah, hearing good things about Johnson.
Then you've got Chris Manhertz. He's already established, reliable veteran, known as a swing blocker, which,
It's kind of Bellinger's bread and butter.
Exactly. Fills a very similar niche. And then there's the rookie, Thomas Fidone II. He's in that mix too, and apparently turning some heads in the early going.
So established guys, promising rookies, it's packed.
Very packed. And analysts are picking up on this. They're openly saying Bellinger might need to, totally reinvent himself, become a core special teamer maybe, or risk being cut.
Just relying on blocking might not be enough anymore.
Seems that way. And the wider speculation, the rumors you hear, they echo that. He's been tagged as a best left undrafted type in fantasy football circles, which signals, low expectations for offense. There's analysis saying he's fading from starter to possible cap casualty, that the Giants might be making a strategic shift at the position.
Ouch. Fading. That's tough.
It is. And sources have even floated the idea, maybe speculation, maybe more, that the Giants could target a veteran tight end. Someone like Jonas Smith was mentioned. Yeah, citing Bellinger's recent production as, quote, disappointing and looking for an upgrade. That would obviously ramp up the competition even more.
Wow. If they're even thinking about bringing in another veteran, that really tells you something.
It does. And he's showing up on lists, those preseason lists of players potentially in their final season with their current team. It all points to a pretty shaky job security.
Okay. Disappointing is hard to hear about a guy who's put in work for us. And that Jonas Smith mentioned. Yeah, that really hammers home how critical this summer is for Bellinger. It's not just fighting for snaps anymore. It's fighting for his roster life against veterans draft picks. It's really do or die, isn't it?
It feels that way, yes.
So let's try and pull all these threads together. We've got the history, the recent dip, the tough contract, the intense competition. What does this all mean for Daniel Bellinger right now? How should we as Giants fans be looking at this as training camp gets going?
Okay, so synthesizing it all. Look, his commitment, the TEU attendance, that's clear. He's working. But you can't ignore the 2024 production drop. And you definitely can't ignore how crowded and competitive that tight end room suddenly looked.
Right.
Then layer on that contract, the low dead cap. It gives the Giants all the leverage, basically, all the flexibility, so the pressure. It is 100% on Bellinger's shoulders during camp and preseason. He has to perform.
So what does perform look like? What are his paths to making this team?
Seems like there are really two main ways. Avenue one, he has to absolutely dominate in camp, show a massive improvement, especially catching the ball, reclaim a real significant offensive role.
Unlikely, maybe, given the other guys. Possible?
Possible, but challenging. Avenue two, he has to become utterly indispensable on special teams, like a true special teams assassin. Prove his value there is so high they just can't afford to cut him, even if his offensive role is limited.
So be elite in the third phase.
Exactly. And this really raises the crucial question, doesn't it? We know he grinds in the offseason. We know he can block. But can he translate that into consistent, undeniable value on the field this summer? Especially in the ways the Giants seem to want more from the position, like receiving. That's the big unknown.
Yeah, that really is the core question. Can that offseason work turn into the production the Giants need now? When the lights are on, man, it's a really tight spot for him. The clock is ticking loud.
It is.
But hey, we've seen guys step up before when their backs are against the wall. As Giants fans, you gotta hope, right? Hope to see that fire from Bellinger. Pure survivor mode for him.
Absolutely. It's his chance to prove everyone wrong.
So there you have it. That's our deep dive into this really complex situation around Daniel Bellinger and our New York Giants. Hopefully, you feel like you've got the full picture now, way beyond just the headlines. We've covered his journey, that recent dip, the kind of brutal money side of things, and that super stacked tight end room he's fighting in.
It covers all the key angles impacting his roster chances.
Definitely. And look, as Giants fans, we always pull for our guys, right? We want the best for them and for the team. So Thinking about everything we've unpacked today, Bellinger's contract, the competition, this need for him to adapt or maybe carve out that special team's niche, here's something for you to chew on. What kind of tight end do you think is most essential for the Giants offense in 2025? What does that ideal TE look like for this team this year? And then how do you see Daniel Bellinger fitting, or maybe not fitting, into that picture as we get closer to the season? Think about it, because his role, or maybe lack of one, could really shape how things go for Big Blue.
It's a key position battle to watch this summer.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I think that just about wraps things up for this deep dive.
Yeah, seems like a good place to pause.
Just wanted to say a massive thank you for tuning in to Big Blue Tea.
Absolutely. And, a huge shout out always to Black Freezy TV.
Oh,
For
definitely.
the fantastic programming, the production, everything that makes this possible.
Yep, their work behind the scenes is just really appreciated.
It really is. Until next time, stay informed, stay passionate, and of course, go Giants.